Hi everybody, so I'm going to be responding to the hard history questions, responses to different media. I chose 3 of the 6. So I'm gonna get started. The first one that I was gravitated to for obvious reasons to me was Stonewall read aloud, because I do identify as queer and I was like, oh, there's a kid's book. Oh man, that's so cool. So I gravitated towards that initially. I thought the book was great. I thought she did a great job reading it. But I was concerned about how, if I would get in trouble for doing the same thing in my own classroom if I decided to. Bringing that book into my own classroom and having a read aloud and just talking about gay rights, it makes me uncomfortable that it is still a topic that I have to think about in that way. I mean, it was only in 2017 that a teacher in Arlington was fired because she showed the class a picture of her and her partner. And I have fear that a similar situation would happen to me, even though she did get, she did win a settlement for $100,000 this past year because of that. So that's the only thing. It's like, well, what in Texas in this climate am I allowed to do? What is acceptable and what is going to be looked down upon? And then there's also a whole plethora of things that aren't a part of the standards. So as I'm learning more about the standards and what is not there, or in what weird order things are there or not there. I mean, because, for example, I don't think that we learn about the civil rights movement until 5th grade. I might be incorrect about that, but 4th or 5th grade, but we'll learn about Martin Luther King in 1st. So, that's weird. Okay. I'm also going to respond to the Visions of Education podcast about Mexican history or Mexican American history, and specifically the part where they talk about Mendez versus Westminster, because for another project, for another class, I learned about that decision, which was made in the late 40s, about Sylvia Mendez, who wanted to go to school and was prevented from being able to get an education because she was Mexican. And I myself actually brought this case into my class when I was teaching 4th grade, because I started talking about Brown versus Board. And then a little girl who is Latina raised her hand and said, well, what about Latinos and Latinas? Like, what have we, contributed to the, and I said, well, there's a little girl your age who set the stage for Brown versus Board, Sylvia Mendez in California. So I was really, really happy to be able to have that opportunity to talk about that. And I am looking forward to bringing more of that into the classroom. And the Visions of Education podcast is definitely something that I've been listening to since I heard about it from this class. So thank you for that. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about the Afro-Latino video. I was really excited to see Gina Torres, because I love her, on a video talking about Afro-Latino issues. This is something that I learned about more when I was in Peace Corps Costa Rica, because there is a huge Afro-Latino population in a region called Limon, which is on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. So, Costa Rica on one side is the Atlantic and the other side is Pacific. And on the Caribbean side, there is a huge population that were segregated until I believe the 60s or 70s in Costa Rica from the rest of white Costa Rica. So listening to it from like a Hollywood perspective about Afro-Caribbean identity was really interesting. I also I had never heard of Amara La Negra before, and so I really loved it when she said that she was una mocha en un vaso de leche, like a drop of mocha in a glass of milk. I really loved that. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I definitely think that, of course, Afro-Latino, and also Haitian and Caribbean, history is also a very hard history and one that we avoid in our teaching. So we just kind of like, oh yeah, that's the Caribbean pirates or whatever. I don't know. I feel I certainly didn't learn about it at all when I was growing up. So I don't know what's specifically in the curriculum today, but I'm pretty sure it's probably not too dissimilar from the nothing that I learned. So that's what I came away with this week. Well, as far as these videos, I learned a lot this week. This is a lot of information, and I was really happy to get into the weeds with this. So thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye.